Japan's promise of Indonesian independence is known as the Koiso Promise, which was uttered by Japanese Prime Minister Kuniaki Koiso on 7 September 1944. This promise stated that Japan would grant independence to Indonesia at a later date, which was realized through the establishment of the Indonesian Independent Preparatory Enterprises Investigation Agency, BPK, on March 1, 1945. This promise aims to gain the sympathy and support of the Indonesian people to help Japan in World War II against the Allies, as well as a propaganda strategy. Background and purpose of the Koiso Pledge. Embracing the sympathy of the Indonesian people. The Japanese, who came up with propaganda as old brothers and saviors of the Dutch nation, wanted to appeal to the sympathy of the Indonesian people for support in the war. Obtaining political support and resources. Japan needed Indonesia's help to face the Allies, both in the form of natural resources, raw materials, and labor. Difficult war situation. Japan needed support from Indonesia as its power in the Pacific declined, especially after the atomic bomb attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The existence and impact of the Koiso Promise. Formation of BPK. As an implementation of the Koiso Promise, Japan established the Indonesian Agency for the Investigation of Preparatory Efforts for Independence, BPK, on March 1, 1945. Fueling the independence struggle. Koiso's promise sparked political discussions among figures of the Indonesian national movement and raised the spirit to immediately realize independence. Formation of other organizations. In addition to BPK, Japan also formed various other organizations such as Putera, Pusat Tenaga Rakyat, Jawa Hokakai, Heiho, and Pita Pembelatana Air, which aimed to utilize the manpower of the Indonesian people. The first atomic bomb, named Little Boy, was dropped on Hiroshima from Enola Gay, a B-29 bomber, at 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945. The second bomb, designated Fat Man, was dropped on Nagasaki from a boxcar, also a B-29 bomber, at 11:02 a.m. on 9 August 1945. Allied troops, led by Britain through AFNEI troops, entered Indonesia on September 29, 1945 after Japan's defeat in World War II, with the main goal of disarming Japanese soldiers and freeing prisoners of war, as well as restoring Dutch civilian rule. However, the presence of Nika, the Dutch, who boarded the Allies, caused conflict because of their intention to colonize Indonesia again, which led to the resistance of the Indonesian people in various regions. Background to the Allied entry. The defeat of Japan. After the defeat of Japan in World War II, there was a vacuum of power in Indonesia. Allied tasks. The United Nations tasked the Allies to take control of Japan and restore the situation to what it had been before the war. AFNEI team. The British, as Allied representatives, sent AFNEI, Allied Forces Netherlands East Indies, troops led by Lieutenant General Sir Philip Christison. The arrival of the Allies. 1. Disarming Japanese soldiers. The main task is to disarm and repatriate Japanese soldiers to their country. 2. Freeing prisoners. Freeing and collecting Allied citizens, mainly Dutch, who were Japanese prisoners of war. 3. Restore civil government. Maintain security so that the Dutch civil administration, Nika, can return to power. Impact and conflict. Nika. The presence of Nika, who accompanied the Allies, was the main trigger for tensions, because Indonesia had already proclaimed its independence. Colonial actions. Nika and Allies tried to regain control of Indonesian territory, as happened in Surabaya, which sparked popular resistance. People's resistance. The Indonesian people perceived the arrival of the Allies, especially Nika, as a threat to their independence, resulting in various battles such as the Battle of Surabaya and the Bandung Lautan API event. Conclusion. The promise of Japanese independence came before the atomic bombing, in an attempt to gain support in the Pacific War. Whether the atomic bomb that was dropped could be considered Indonesian independence assisted by America or allies, it was too naive. Before the atomic bomb, the power of Japan was already weakened. Although Japan in the atomic bomb and surrender, it turned out as a result allies. The Netherlands with the United Kingdom conducted a massive invasion of Indonesia, which led to the war almost throughout the territory of Indonesia. Indonesian resistance, not only through war, but also diplomacy,